The studio lights were too bright, too hot, too unforgiving. And the moment the question left her lips, the air inside the room shifted in a way no one could take back. Before we step into that silence, before we relive the second that made an entire audience stop breathing, make sure you subscribe to Fame and Frame right now. Like this video. Drop a comment before the end telling me whose side you're on, because this one changes everything. It started like any other polished afternoon broadcast. The set of The View shimmered beneath the glow of controlled perfection. Glass table gleaming, coffee mugs aligned, cameras floating silently on tracks like predators stalking their prey. The audience was warm, expectant. Applause rose in gentle waves as the co-hosts took their seats. And then she walked out. Zendaya. Effortless. Composed. Draped in a sleek, understated look that whispered power rather than screamed it. Her heels clicked against the studio floor with a calm rhythm that didn't match the electricity crackling just beneath the surface. She smiled. Not the kind of smile that asks for approval. The kind that says she already knows something you don't. Across the table sat Sunny Hostin. Polished. Poised. Papers neatly stacked in front of her. A pen balanced between perfectly manicured fingers. She leaned forward slightly, her posture professional, but her eyes sharp. Too sharp. The applause faded. Cameras locked into position. Red lights blinked on. "And we're back," Sunny said smoothly, voice coated in broadcast warmth. "Today we're joined by Emmy-winning actress, global icon, and one of the most influential young voices in Hollywood." Zendaya nodded graciously, hands folded in her lap. "Thank you for having me." First, everything moved like choreography. They spoke about her latest project. The long nights on set. The discipline. The responsibility of being a role model. The audience laughed at the right beats. Applauded when prompted. But tension doesn't announce itself. Creeps in. A glance held half a second too long. A pause that feels heavier than it should. Sunny flipped a page. "Zendaya," she began, tone still smooth but dipping slightly into something more pointed. "You've become a symbol of empowerment for young women. Especially young women of color." Zendaya nodded again. "I try to be responsible with that platform." "And yet," Sunny continued, eyes narrowing almost imperceptibly, "there are critics who say your image is carefully curated. That it's safe. That you avoid speaking directly about certain controversies." A ripple moved through the audience. Subtle. Uneasy. Zendaya didn't blink. "Controversies?" she asked softly. Sunny tilted her head. "Political issues. Industry accountability. There are moments when your silence has been interpreted as strategic." The word landed like glass. Strategic. Zendaya leaned back slightly, crossing one leg over the other. Her expression didn't crack, but something behind her eyes hardened. "I'm very intentional with my words," she replied evenly. "I don't think that's the same as being silent." Sunny smiled. But it didn't reach her eyes. "Of course. But when you hold so much influence, don't you think silence can sometimes be louder than speech?" The temperature in the studio seemed to rise. A cough from somewhere in the back row. One of the other hosts shifted in her chair. Zendaya's jaw tightened just enough for the nearest camera to catch it. She inhaled slowly. "You know," she said, voice calm but lower now, "it's interesting how often young women are told they're either too loud or too quiet, too political or not political enough." Sunny interjected gently. "That's not what I'm suggesting. But it is the pattern," Zendaya continued, still smiling, though the warmth had drained from it. "When I speak, I'm told I should stick to acting. When I don't, I'm told I'm avoiding responsibility." The audience clapped softly, hesitant at first, then stronger. Sunny's pen stopped moving. "I think what viewers are curious about," Sunny pressed carefully, "is authenticity. Who is Zendaya when the cameras aren't rolling?" A dangerous question, because it wasn't about movies anymore. It wasn't about projects. It was personal. Zendaya's fingers tapped once against her knee. A small movement. Controlled. "I'm the same person," she said. "The only difference is lighting." A few nervous laughs. Sunny leaned in. "But are you?" she asked quietly. And there it was. The shift. The moment when this stopped being an interview and started becoming something else. Zendaya's eyes lifted slowly to meet Sunny's fully now. No deflection. No polite softening. Just direct contact. For 3 seconds, neither of them spoke. In a live studio, 3 seconds is an eternity. The producers behind the cameras exchanged glances. One of them subtly raised a hand, signaling to wrap the segment if needed. But no one moved, because something was happening. Something real. Sunny cleared her throat. There are rumors, she said carefully, that you've declined certain appearances in panels because you didn't want to be asked tougher questions. Is that accurate? The audience went completely still. Zendaya's smile vanished. Not dramatically. Just gone. Her shoulders squared. Who told you that? She asked. The softness in her voice was gone now. Sunny hesitated just a fraction of a second, but it was enough. It's been reported, she replied. By who? Zendaya repeated. The cameras zoomed in. A beat of tension rolled across the glass table between them like invisible thunder. Sunny's composure flickered. We've seen discussions online. So, Twitter? Zendaya asked. A nervous ripple of laughter, quickly silenced. Sunny's lips pressed together. I'm asking because I think transparency matters, she said, regaining her anchor. Your fans deserve honesty. Zendaya leaned forward now. Not aggressively, but deliberately. My fans, she said slowly, deserve truth, not narratives built from anonymous threads. A louder wave of applause. Sunny's eyes flashed. So you're saying the criticism is baseless? I'm saying, Zendaya replied, voice calm but cutting, that it's interesting how often successful women are accused of being calculated when they're simply being careful. The audience clapped again, this time louder. But Sunny didn't back down. Careful or protected? She asked. The word echoed. Protected. Zendaya's gaze didn't waver. Protected by who? She asked. Your team. Your brand. The machine, Sunny replied. The air thickened. Because now it wasn't subtle. Now it was an accusation. Zendaya's hands unclasped. She rested them flat on the table. You think I'm manufactured? She asked. Sunny didn't answer immediately. And in that hesitation something snapped. Not loudly. Not visibly. But undeniably. Zendaya leaned closer. Her voice dropping to a near whisper that somehow carried through the entire studio. You invited me here, she said. If you wanted a villain, you should have booked one. Gasps. Actual gasps from the audience. One of the co-hosts looked down at her notes, avoiding eye contact. Sunny blinked, caught between surprise and defiance. That's not what I'm implying. But it's what you're pushing, Zendaya interrupted. Silence. Thick. Uncomfortable. Electric. Somewhere backstage, a producer whispered urgently into a headset. The segment was supposed to be light. Inspirational. Now it felt like a courtroom. Sunny's voice sharpened slightly. No one is pushing anything. I'm asking the questions viewers are already asking. Zendaya tilted her head. Or the ones you are? That landed harder than anything before. Because this wasn't about the audience anymore. It was about Sunny. About intent. About motive. Sunny's composure slipped for the first time. Her jaw tightened. You're deflecting, she said. Zendaya's eyes flashed. No, she replied. I'm answering. Another pause. Another 3-second eternity. The energy in the room had transformed completely. What began as polished daytime television now felt like a live-wire confrontation that could ignite at any second. Sunny opened her mouth, closed it, then tried again. One final question, she said. Zendaya didn't look away. Sunny inhaled. When you choose silence on certain issues, is it because you're afraid of losing something? The word hung in the air. Afraid. The audience collectively stopped breathing. Zendaya's expression changed. Not anger. Not shock. Something deeper. Disappointment. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, she shook her head. But she didn't answer. Instead, she looked directly into the main camera. Not at Sunny. Not at the audience. At the lens. At the millions watching. And the silence stretched. Long enough to feel intentional. Long enough to feel like a statement. Sunny shifted uncomfortably. Zendaya. Still no answer. Just that steady, unflinching gaze into the camera. And then, Zendaya finally spoke. But not to Sunny. To everyone watching, she began softly, and before she could finish, the screen cut abruptly to commercial. The commercial break sign flashed red. But the tension didn't disappear. It thickened. Behind the forced smiles and muted applause, the studio felt like a sealed glass box filling with smoke. Producers rushed in from the sidelines, whispering into headsets, gesturing subtly. Makeup artists hovered but didn't dare touch a thing. The audience shifted in their seats, unsure whether they had just witnessed a television moment or the beginning of something far bigger. At the table, Zendaya remained still. Not rattled. Not flustered. Still. Across from her, Sunny Hostin shuffled her papers, though she wasn't reading them. Her pen tapped once. Twice. Then stopped. A producer leaned in close to Sunny, whispering urgently. Another crouched near Zendaya, voice low. "We can pivot," the producer murmured. "Lighter segment. Quick wrap. Keep it clean." Zendaya didn't look at her. "I'm fine," she said quietly. Sunny straightened her posture, smoothing the front of her blazer. When she looked up again, the broadcast smile was back, but it didn't fit the room anymore. 30 seconds, someone called out. The audience was instructed to clap enthusiastically when they returned. Their applause felt thinner now, less automatic, more aware. The red light blinked on. "And we're back," Sunny announced, voice polished once more, though the faintest edge remained. "Before the break, we were discussing influence and responsibility in the public eye." Zendaya shifted her gaze from the table to Sunny. Controlled. Measured. Sunny inhaled. "Zendaya, you were about to address viewers directly." A subtle challenge in her tone. Zendaya didn't rush. She folded her hands gently on the glass table, her reflection staring back at her from beneath. "I was," she said. The room quieted again. "I was going to say," Zendaya continued, voice steady, "that sometimes silence isn't fear. Sometimes it's restraint. And sometimes it's strategy." Sunny's eyebrow lifted slightly. "So it is strategic?" Zendaya's lips curved faintly. "Everything in this industry is," she replied, "including questions." A few audible gasps from the audience. Sunny didn't blink. "Are you suggesting I have an agenda?" "I'm suggesting," Zendaya said evenly, "that framing matters." Sunny leaned forward. "Then let's frame this clearly," she said. "You've built a brand around empowerment, authenticity, and transparency. Yet when controversies shake Hollywood, when major voices speak out, you remain selective. People notice that." Zendaya nodded slowly. "Of course they do. Then why not address it head-on?" Sunny pressed. Zendaya tilted her head slightly. "Because not everything deserves amplification." Sunny's jaw tightened. "But silence can protect power structures. And noise can protect ego," Zendaya shot back calmly. The audience reacted immediately, sharp murmurs, scattered applause, a few stunned laughs that died quickly. Sunny's composure flickered again. "Ego?" she repeated. Zendaya didn't raise her voice. "When someone assumes they're owed my opinion on every issue," she said softly, "that's not accountability. That's entitlement." The air shifted again. A co-host cleared her throat but didn't interrupt. Sunny's tone cooled. "No one is entitled to you," she said carefully. "But when you position yourself as a leader—" "I never called myself that," Zendaya interrupted. The interruption was smooth but unmistakable. Sunny paused. Zendaya continued. "Other people use those words. Icon. Role model. Voice of a generation. That's projection. I'm an actress. I tell stories. I care deeply about real issues, but I choose when and how I speak. And who decides that?" Sunny asked. Zendaya's eyes held hers. "I do." A beat. Sunny's pen rolled off the table and hit the floor. The small sound echoed louder than it should have. An assistant rushed forward, but Sunny waved them off without looking away from Zendaya. "There's a perception," Sunny said, regaining rhythm, "that your team shields you from difficult spaces. That interviews are vetted. That topics are pre-approved." Zendaya exhaled slowly through her nose. "Do you think I would be sitting here right now if I was afraid of difficult spaces?" Sunny hesitated. Zendaya leaned slightly closer. "Or did you assume I wouldn't push back?" The question lingered. Sharp. Precise. Sunny straightened in her chair. I don't assume anything, she replied. But you implied I'm manufactured, Zendaya said quietly. I implied your image is polished. That's called professionalism. A ripple of applause again, stronger this time. Sunny's tone hardened almost imperceptibly. Professionalism doesn't mean avoiding discomfort. Zendaya's gaze sharpened. Do you feel uncomfortable? The audience audibly reacted, some gasps, some nervous laughter. Sunny held her stare. This isn't about me. Zendaya's expression shifted again. Then why does it feel personal? Silence. A heavy, undeniable silence. The studio audience sensed it. The crew sensed it. Even the cameras seemed to hover more carefully now, zooming tighter on their faces, capturing every micro-expression. Sunny inhaled slowly. You're very skilled, she said. At redirecting. Zendaya's lips twitched faintly. No, she said. I'm skilled at recognizing when a conversation stops being about truth and starts being about narrative. Sunny's fingers tightened around the edge of the table. And what narrative is that? The one where young women are interrogated for not performing activism on demand. The applause this time was louder, more confident. Some audience members even stood halfway before sitting back down. Sunny let the noise die. And is that what you think I'm doing? She asked, voice low. Zendaya didn't hesitate. I think you're testing me. Sunny's eyes flickered. And if I am? Zendaya leaned back slowly, crossing her arms, not defensively but deliberately. Then you should be prepared for answers you may not like. The words didn't rise above a calm tone, but they hit hard. Sunny swallowed. The co-host to her left finally tried to intervene, offering a nervous chuckle. Maybe we should pivot to. Sunny raised a hand slightly. No, let's not pivot. The tension spiked. Zendaya, Sunny continued. Are you saying you feel attacked? Zendaya shook her head. No, she said. I feel studied. The audience murmured again. Sunny blinked. Studied? Zendaya nodded. Like you came in with a conclusion, and you're waiting for me to confirm it. Sunny's expression tightened. That's unfair. Is it? Zendaya asked. The two women locked eyes again. This time it wasn't just tension. It was challenge. Sunny's voice dropped lower. You have enormous cultural influence, she said. Whether you claim it or not. With that comes responsibility. Zendaya's face softened. Not with surrender, but with something more layered. You think I don't know that? She asked quietly. The shift in her tone caught everyone off guard. For the first time, emotion crept into her voice. I live with that weight every day, she continued. Every script I choose. Every word I say. Every post I don't make. You think that's accidental? The room felt smaller. Sunny didn't respond immediately. Zendaya continued, her composure still intact but now threaded with something deeper. You don't see the meetings, the private conversations, the things I support without cameras. Sunny opened her mouth. But because I don't perform it publicly, Zendaya added, it doesn't count? The audience was completely silent now. Sunny's expression flickered, something almost like uncertainty passing through her eyes. That's not what I said, she replied. It's what you implied. The tension became suffocating. Producers were visibly tense at the edges of the stage. Sunny leaned forward one last time. Then let me ask you this, she said carefully. If silence is strategy, what are you protecting? There it was again. The accusation disguised as curiosity. Zendaya's eyes darkened. She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she looked around the studio. At the audience. At the cameras. At the bright, unforgiving lights. Then back at Sunny. And when she spoke, her voice was quieter than before, but heavier. I'm protecting my peace, she said. A beat. And my power. The audience erupted into applause. But Sunny didn't clap. She studied Zendaya. And then, almost under her breath, but still picked up by the mic, Sunny said, or your brand. The applause faltered. Zendaya's head tilted slowly. And for the first time, a flash of unmistakable fire lit behind her eyes. The kind that doesn't cool down easily. She leaned forward again. Say that louder, she said calmly. The room froze. Sunny didn't move. Didn't smile. didn't soften it. Instead, she met Zendaya's gaze and repeated, clearer this time, "Your brand." And this time, Zendaya didn't smile at all. She inhaled. And what she said next made the entire studio audibly gasp. The word still hung in the air. Brand. It echoed off the glass table, off the cameras, off the bright white lights that suddenly felt harsher than before. Zendaya didn't blink. For a split second, the room expected her to laugh it off, to pivot, to soften. She didn't. Instead, her voice lowered. "My brand," she repeated. Across from her, Sunny Hostin held her posture steady, chin slightly lifted. The professionalism was still there, but now it was threaded with defiance. "Yes," Sunny said. "You've built one of the most carefully managed brands in Hollywood. It's impressive, but it's also protected." A murmur rolled through the audience like distant thunder. Zendaya's hand slowly slid from the table to her lap. "Let's be honest," Sunny continued. "You rarely misstep. You rarely stumble publicly. You rarely take positions that risk alienating half your audience. That's not accidental." Zendaya leaned back in her chair. The calm had changed. It wasn't controlled politeness anymore. It was calculation. "Do you resent that?" she asked softly. Sunny's expression flickered. "This isn't about resentment. It feels like it." Sunny's jaw tightened. "I'm asking what viewers are thinking." "No," Zendaya replied evenly. "You're asking what you're thinking." The audience gasped. A co-host shifted visibly, whispering something under her breath. Sunny didn't look away. "Fine," she said. "Let's talk about it plainly. Some people believe you're more invested in maintaining marketability than making waves." Zendaya's lips parted slightly. Then she laughed. Not loudly, not dramatically, but enough. And that laugh was more cutting than any raised voice. "Marketability," she repeated. "You think that's what this is?" Sunny's tone sharpened. "Isn't it?" Zendaya leaned forward again. "No," she said. "It's survival." The room went still. She continued, her voice no longer just controlled but personal. "You know what happens to young actresses who misstep? Who speak too early? Who speak too loudly? They're labeled difficult, unstable, ungrateful." Sunny opened her mouth. Zendaya didn't let her. "They're replaced," she continued. "They're sidelined. They're reduced to hashtags." The audience's silence grew heavier. "You call it branding," Zendaya said quietly. "I call it navigating an industry that doesn't forgive women the way it forgives men." Sunny leaned back slightly, absorbing it. "And you think I don't understand that?" she asked. Zendaya's eyes softened, but only slightly. "I think you do," she said. "Which is why this surprises me." The words landed differently this time, not as an attack, as disappointment. Sunny exhaled. "You're assuming I'm attacking you," she replied. "You're dissecting me," Zendaya corrected. The two women stared at each other again. This time not like adversaries, but like two strategists trying to outmaneuver each other in a public arena. Sunny folded her hands. "Let me be clear," she said. "I respect your talent. I respect your discipline. But influence demands transparency." Zendaya nodded slowly. "And transparency," she replied, "doesn't mean confession." Sunny's eyes narrowed. "Confession?" "Yes," Zendaya said. "You want me to admit something, to validate the idea that I'm curated, manufactured, calculated, a beat. And maybe I am calculated," she added calmly. The audience reacted instantly, sharp murmurs rippling outward. Sunny blinked. Zendaya continued. "Every public figure is, including you." A quiet gasp. Sunny stiffened. "This isn't about me." "It never is," Zendaya said. That one landed hard. The room felt like it had tilted slightly off balance. Sunny leaned forward again, refusing to retreat. "Fine," she said. "Then let's ask something direct. Have you ever chosen silence because speaking would hurt your career?" The question cut through the air like a blade. Zendaya didn't respond immediately. Her jaw tightened. Her eyes flickered just briefly. And for the first time since this confrontation began, there was hesitation. The audience noticed. Sunny noticed. "That's not a simple question," Zendaya said finally. "It's a direct one." Zendaya looked down at the glass table, watching the studio lights reflect back at her like 1,000 tiny interrogations. Then she looked up. Yes, she said. The room exploded into whispers. Sunny's eyebrows lifted. Yes, she repeated. Yes, Zendaya said firmly now. There have been moments where speaking publicly would have cost me opportunities. The honesty hit like a shockwave. Sunny's tone softened just slightly. And you chose not to? I chose timing, Zendaya replied. That's still a choice. Of course it is. Sunny tilted her head. Is that integrity? Zendaya didn't flinch. It's strategy, she said. You can't fight every battle at once. Sometimes you build leverage first. The audience listened, completely silent now. Sunny's voice lowered. So when will you decide you have enough leverage? Zendaya's eyes locked onto hers. When I no longer need permission. A stunned hush fell across the studio. One of the co-hosts visibly exhaled. Sunny studied her. You think you still need permission? Zendaya gave a faint, humorless smile. In this industry, she said, everyone does. Sunny leaned back slowly. And yet, she said, you sit here telling millions of viewers that you're playing a long game. Zendaya's gaze sharpened. I'm telling millions of viewers that power isn't always loud. Sunny's lips pressed together. And what about accountability? Zendaya's response came instantly. I hold myself accountable. I don't owe public performance to prove it. The tension surged again. Sunny tapped her fingers once against the table. You're very careful with your words. Yes. That's intentional. Yes. And you don't think that creates distance? Zendaya paused. Then quietly, distance protects me. That admission shifted the atmosphere again. Not combative. Vulnerable. Sunny's expression changed. Not fully softened but altered. From what? She asked. Zendaya hesitated. The lights felt hotter. The cameras closer. From being consumed, she said finally. The audience absorbed that. Sunny leaned forward again, but her tone was different now. Less confrontational. More probing. Consumed by what? She asked. Zendaya's voice dropped. Expectation. A silence followed that felt almost reverent. Sunny didn't interrupt this time. Zendaya continued. You build someone up as a symbol. An icon. A voice. And then you wait for them to slip. To fail. To say the wrong thing. Her eyes flicked briefly toward the cameras. And sometimes, she added, you even push. The implication lingered heavily between them. Sunny didn't smile. Are you saying I'm pushing you to fail? She asked. Zendaya held her gaze. I'm saying, she replied carefully, this stopped being about curiosity a while ago. The room felt like it had lost oxygen. Sunny inhaled slowly. Then what is it about? She asked. Zendaya leaned forward one final time. Her voice wasn't loud. Didn't need to be. It's about control, she said. A sharp intake of breath from the audience. Sunny's eyes hardened again. You think I'm trying to control you? Zendaya shook her head slowly. No, she said. I think you're uncomfortable with the fact that you can't. The words detonated. Gasps. Audible. Immediate. A co-host whispered. Oh my God. Sunny's composure cracked. Not fully but enough. A flash of something raw crossed her face. That's an interesting accusation, she said tightly. It's an observation. Sunny's pen slid back into her hand. You're framing me as the aggressor. You framed me first, Zendaya replied. The studio felt like a chessboard now. Every move deliberate, every word sharpened. Sunny looked into the camera briefly, then back at Zendaya. One last thing, she said. Her voice was steady but colder now. You speak about power, about strategy, about survival. But when young women watch this, what do you want them to learn? To wait? To calculate? To stay silent until it's safe? The question hung there like a trap. Zendaya's expression shifted. For the first time, her composure cracked. Not with anger but with intensity. I want them to learn, she said slowly, that they don't owe anyone their trauma on demand. The audience erupted. This time not hesitant, not uncertain. Applause thundered through the studio. Sunny didn't clap. She held Zendaya's gaze through the noise. And if they're told they're afraid? Sunny pressed. Zendaya leaned in. Then they should ask, she said quietly, who benefits from that label? The applause grew louder. But beneath it, there was something else. Not resolution. Not peace. Unfinished business. Sunny opened her mouth one last time. Zendaya, she said carefully, if you had the chance to say something today that could risk everything, would you? The room froze. Zendaya didn't answer immediately. She stared at Sunny, then at the camera, then back at Sunny, and slowly, she smiled. But this time, it wasn't calm. It wasn't diplomatic. It was dangerous. Careful what you wish for, she said. And the red light blinked, signaling they were still live.